It is not just one of the family of nations. This is a nation with a great mission to perform for the benefit of liberty-loving people everywhere.
That we shall be as a city upon a hill.
These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country.
You've come to fight as three men. Three men you are. What will you do without freedom?
Proclaim liberty throughout all the land.
In one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. You gotta fight for your right. Can you dig it?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is round 2 in the morning, man. Sean, I think we should just start like breaking it up like this every morning, buddy. I got no problem with this, man. See, I was being encouraged, dude. Like, you know, we're getting good traction. We're getting people viewing in. We just cut it off halfway through about the 24, 30-minute mark. You know what I mean? And then show a quick commercial on there. Maybe we'll plug realnewsradio.live. Realnewsradio.live, by the way. You can find cool little merch out there. We got a little mug around here somewhere. You can t-shirt out there. You can get a book bag or a little carry-on bag that has a cool little QR code on the back. Throw a little commercial on there. Why not? In all sincerity, though, buddy, I know this is going to sound very, very weird, but I don't know. The fact that we just got shut down there is slightly encouraging. It means we're doing something right. It means the internet traffic is what it is. That's probably what's going on. It's probably just the internet traffic. But I will say,
yeah, you're right. Censorship is fun, and it was probably an accident. You're right, totally.
I will say, if it had something to do with the story that I just told before, which I will not repeat lest we get banned again or shut down again. Daniel said, I just said it. Daniel just said the words that I just said. You can read his comment. You said, quote, we're going to get B word for this, S word for this, and then you got cut off. Maybe those are the trigger words. Maybe that's what the algorithm picks up on is like, what are you doing here? I don't know. Whatever, man. We're back into it. If you just joined us, by the way, from the previous segment that we got cut off on, we were going over a story of Google yesterday. Quick update, catch up on that. Google basically shuts down ad revenue ability for Zero Hedge and the Federalist. They say it's because they allowed comment sections to exist on their website and they, whatever. That's where we got into the conversation about Section 203 about whether Google's going to be a platform or a publisher. I went on this, long little rant saying, like, I don't think the left, and this is what I got this idea from Shine. I got to be for real here. He's helped me flesh this out over the last couple of weeks. I don't think the left is too worried about winning elections anymore. I just don't. They shifted that strategy a long time ago. If you can get someone to self-censor, if you can get the populace to impose speech restrictions and even enact repercussions on themselves that are far greater than the government would ever think about doing, why do you even need to worry about the First Amendment? Why do you even need to worry about elections? Why do you even need to worry about the Supreme Court? So it brought me to this conversation. Again, big shout out to one of our Real News family members, Robert McWilliams, for throwing this in one of the comments under this story that was linked on Real News. This is coming from the American Bar Association circa 2018, I believe, or so. The comments lead me to believe. This is entitled, In the Age of Social Media, Expand the Reach of the First Amendment. Now, this is a very interesting thing for me that has libertarian leanings to consider. But look, man, it is what it is. These are the conversations that are being had. And I'll tell you right now, man, if these are some of the tactics that are going to be played on one side, then I think if history, and I'm talking short history, I'm talking the last couple of months worth of history. If that type of history has taught us anything, it has taught us that there will be an equal and opposite reaction to whatever this action is. Here's the story. American Bar Association, right? The First Amendment only limits governmental actors. Cool. First line already. I think everyone's right there. That's the inherent problem, isn't it? Google is a private company. It's a private entity. They should be able to do what they want. That is the foundational problem for libertarians right now. That's the argument I've been sticking by the entire time, and I'm still trying to figure out if I should convince myself otherwise or not. My argument has always been, if Facebook, Google, YouTube, if they want to create a terrible product that panders solely to 5% of the left, let them do that. The product will inevitably fail, I think. I don't necessarily know where I stand with that anymore. I say I think, man, because once you have such overarching control, dare I say total control, dare I even go to say you might be able to statistically chart out in some comprehensive way that Google probably has control of information like no other entity has in human history. I don't think that's a too far stretch to say. Once you have that kind of control, are we talking about a private entity at this point? Once you have more control of something than the United States government does, aren't we just playing a semantic game? Continuing forward. The First Amendment only limits governmental actors, federal, state, and local. But there are good reasons why this should be changed. Interesting. Several powerful private entities, particularly social networking sites such as Facebook, Twitter, and others, can limit, control, and censor speech as much or more than governmental entities. A society that cares for protection of free expression needs to recognize that the time has come to extend the reach of the First Amendment to cover these powerful private entities that have ushered in revolution in terms of communication capabilities. They go on to talk about the NFL kneeling controversy and a few other things that have been going forward. It's a little bit off topic, but if we jump back to some other stuff. Speaking of speech, this individual says, 2 key justifications for robust protection of the First Amendment right to freedom of expression are the marketplace of ideas and individual self-fulfillment. 2 reasons he articulates here are the marketplace of ideas and individual self-fulfillment. These justifications don't require government presence. Powerful private actors can infringe on free expression rights as much as public actors. Again, just to be clear, I don't necessarily know where I fall on this yet. I'm just putting the idea out there for everyone else to consider because I'm telling you right now, whether you agree with this stance legally or not, it is going to be what is going to be considered. That was a terrible sentence. They're going to consider it. This is what they're going to consider. The first justification, this person says, the marketplace of ideas, is a pervasive metaphor in the First Amendment law that posits that government should not distort the market and engage in content control. It's better for people to appreciate for themselves different ideas and concepts. It's traced all the way back to John Milton's free speech tract. Let truth and falsehood grapple. Whoever knows truth put to the worse in a free and open encounter. Individual self-fulfillment is the other one. Often associated with liberty theory, posits that people need and crave the ability to express themselves to become fully functioning individuals. Censorship stunts personal growth and individual expansions, just what we were talking about and I was ranting on a while ago. When we stop speaking to each other because we're afraid of what the repercussions might be, and I do mean genuinely fearful of losing your job, of social ostracism, of losing your friends, not being able to provide for your family. When we have that type of fear, it is not just a chilling effect on speech anymore. It completely squelches it. You just don't even pursue the opportunities anymore. The point here is that when an entity like Facebook, or in this case Google, engages in censorship, individuals don't get to participate in the marketplace of ideas and are not allowed the liberty to engage in individual self-fulfillment, just like when a governmental entity engages in censorship. And this is where I want to pause one more time and make the argument I made a second ago, man. Look, bro, when we have a defamation, I don't know who we is, when there's a defamation claim that puts out there, Amy's in Facebook, she's watching with us now. She's a qualified attorney, Vanderbilt law grad here. She could probably speak to this better than I could. When a defamation claim comes down, I don't know what the average is for damages that come out of that. But in general, I would think you cannot sue someone to lose their job. So I guess if I'm just doing the math behind this, let's say there's some defamatory claim by the New York Times or something. You might be speaking in the hundreds of millions of dollars if it's an entire company that you're suing, as we saw in the case of that guy who had the Native American was playing the drum in front of his face or something, and CNN and just like ran him through the mud with it. And he sued for some absurd number, like $150 million. Now, they settled out of court. I don't know what the number they settled for, but it was probably pretty high. So the point I'm making is if you do the math behind this thing and you're not suing an outright entity, if you're just suing an individual, how much could you hold an individual responsible for by way of money damages? And I'm trying to figure out the math behind this. Would that be as much as losing your job entirely? One of the cases that I have down here in a little bit is cancel culture is alive and well. This individual owned a cosmetic. She was a CEO of a cosmetic company. I don't know what she was doing, but she sold to this other company, and they just basically canceled her job entirely. And her husband lost her job for them going and talking to some guy outside of a stoop saying, like, hey, do you live here? Because he was scrolling. He was writing in chalk, Black Lives Matters on the front of a stoop. It was basically two Karens meeting in the wilds is exactly what ended up happening there. But both her and her husband lost their jobs. More on that story in a little while. Now, they live in San Francisco, and I would venture to say there is no such thing as a conservative in San Francisco, just my take on it. So at this point, it's just the left eating their own. But In order to live in San Francisco, in the area that they were living in, you got to make a lot of money. I'm talking both these people were making six figures for sure. So in the general assessment of mathematics, if what I'm saying is if the government was going to hold you responsible for some type of defamation damages, would that ever get anywhere close to the lifetime that you would spend in a six-figure job? I don't think so. The overall point, again, as I'm belaboring the point here, but the overall point, again, is we're enacting far greater punishments on ourselves than the government ever hoped or dreamed to do. This is where I finalize this little rant with. This American Bar individual goes on to say the following. This societal development and change in communication capacities require that the antiquated state action doctrine be modified, lest the law become ossified, brittle, breaks, ineffective. The time has come to recognize that the reach of the First Amendment has expanded when a private actor has control over online communications and online forums. These private actors are analogous to a governmental actor. And this, again, was in 2018. I'm pretty sure if we fast forward a couple more years, he would probably not be so kind with his words to say that they are analogous to a governmental actor. I think at this point, man, they might have even surpassed it. Now, again, Sean, I've been rambling a little bit here, man, before we jump into some cancel culture. Or maybe lighten the mood a little bit for meme reviews, buddy. Like, I don't know. You wanting to say anything on this, man? I'll hit some Facebook comments or something else as well. But where are you at on this, man?
I'm not going to lie, man. Like, sometimes I get mad. But at the moment, I'm just feeling, like, disheartened.
Yeah, I hear you.
Like, it is discouraging to live in a world where people with normal opinions are getting their jobs taken away. They're reestablishing normal. They're building a different world. I mean, that's what this is. This isn't like it was 2 years ago where it's like going after a rival or something. The culture war was a game a couple of years ago. It was a game. I mean, I know there were real losers and real winners and things like that. The get woke, go broke, and all kinds of stuff like that. But this is different. We are in a different place, and it's discouraging to me because every time one of these things happen, I never look at it in a vacuum. I always say, what comes next? Every time. And when you look at what happened yesterday, where a major company got it most of its major companies got most of their revenue, not some of their revenue, most of their revenue taken away.
Yeah.
Extrajudiciously for comments, or just move past that. Something that doesn't justify losing all your revenue.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it. And that's just today. Tomorrow it'll be different. It'll be worse. And it's hard to imagine it getting worse than that. It's really difficult. But it only can because it only has. So I'm not trying. Now, you said lighten the mood a little bit. I definitely did not do that. I apologize. But
No. I was going to do that with some of these meme reviews in a second. But look, man, it's important. And I think a lot of people at this point are just trying to figure out a way out. And I say a lot of people, and not just conservatives, man, like my brother even. We talk all the time in this family text chain, man. My brother's like, I talk about him quite a bit on the show. He's just a good case example to go to a lot of the times. The guy is a, PhD in clinical neuroscience. I mean, one of the more intelligent individuals I've ever known in my life. To say that he is analytical is an absolute understatement. He might be the truest version of an empiricist that I've met in a very long time. If the data leads a particular way, it's going to lead a particular way, right? Like he will become excommunicated from the left as quickly as Sam Harris was if the data leads him that way. He doesn't care. And he's even said it in these particular times, multiple times in this text thread, he's come back with, I don't know what's going on. Like, I can't make sense of this either. Like, it's just like, it's not representative of him. Full on Democrat, man. Like, in academia. He was academia. He is academia. Like, it doesn't make sense to him. He can't parse this stuff either. I don't know. I think what I'm saying, I still do think that the best opportunity to grab some of this back, get control back again is a little bit, I know this is going to be hokey, I know, but it's a little bit of what we're doing right now. The conversations that we have following up, when Cody and I talk after the show, when Amy and I talk after the show, when my boy John calls me afterwards, right? When we have conversations with Daniel, As much as Daniel and I seem to disagree over the last couple of days, every single time the show gets done, Daniel hits something in one of these little group chats we have going on. By the way, here's a follow-up. He did that yesterday with the story that I talked about. Quick update. He did that yesterday with the story that I brought up of the 3 police officers that were poisoned. Turned out that wasn't the case. Holding us accountable, making sure we grow, making sure we have difference of perspective. I know it seems insignificant. I promise you it's not. I promise you it is not. These little exchanges that we're having every single day, I think that is the only way you solve a situation like this. I think you continue dialogue. I think you continue to be open. And I say that, man, because I do think the vast majority of the people do not only do they not accept something like this, I don't think they want to be a part of something like this. And if they are a part of something like this, I think it's only because they've got caught up in the manipulation. I think a lot of these people are being manipulated because we have a bunch of brand new politically aware folks right now, like a bunch of brand new, like over the last couple of months, brand new politically aware folks. And I'm not saying it's not like a kill 'em with kindness thing. No, man, like we have to be able to draw our lines and never move. Draw our lines and assert what truth is, because it will always be, in spite of me saying it or otherwise. It just is. But I think these conversations, starting at a localized level, continuing these things with working on local solutions, man, at some point, I think enough people are going to be able to wake up and be like, dude, I don't care what's going on in California, man. Like, I don't care what's going on with these national things. It's not going to make a difference between how I'm going to treat my neighbor. And you cannot convince me, media, you cannot convince me that there's a major problem going on when I'm just not seeing it outside. If there is a major problem going on, if we need to reform police, man, let's do that. I've been there. I've been working on that. That's what I've committed most of my adult life to on. It's criminal justice reform stuff. I'm there. Shine, let's do here something, buddy. Let's do a couple of these meme review stuff, man. I don't know, maybe we end the show that way, or maybe just transition to a different topic entirely. But I just feel like we need to lighten the mood a little bit. It's at the top of the show notes there.
Okay.
Some are funny. Some of them are going to get us back into more topics that might be a little bit down anyways, but whatever. They're meme reviews. Let's see where we're at. Meme review national story. First one here is entitled, Who is Aunt Tifa? Antifa? Who is Aunt Tifa is what I want to know. It's Joe Biden. Joe Biden there. Can they see that, Sean? Yeah, Meme review. Who is Aunt Tifa? Joe Biden wants to know what she smells like. This Aunt Tifa person. Not a bad meme, Sean. You know what I mean? Gets the point across. I think obviously what it's implying here is, hey, man, Joe Biden likes to sniff on folks. You know what I'm saying?
I give it a 2. I'm gonna be honest.
It's a low score.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I didn't even give it a sympathetic chuckle. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, dang it! I at least had a sympathetic chuckle. I kind of like this one. I'll give it at least.
Well,
a 4.
I'm not saying that. Hey, you get to enjoy your memes however you like.
That's what memes are so great, man.
Yeah.
That's why they're so great. You can enjoy them. Who is Aunt Tifa? I wonder what she smells like. Look how dejected he looks, man. He just wants to sniff that Aunt Tifa's hair. He wants to compare it with the other hair that he sniffs. Let's go on to the next one. Bill Gates microchipping. This will open up a can of worms for sure. Let's see what old Bill Gates is talking about, buddy.
He's reading right there. He's there.
He's reading a dummies book. Microchipping small town soccer moms. I don't know. What do you think about this one? It's not great. This one is okay. It's all right.
Another 2. I just didn't even chuckle. It's too obvious. They got to get in there a little better. Like, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Let's see this. Our next one is Chaz, Somalia, Venezuela. All right, man. You've seen these memes going around.
At least this is a real meme template, though. Like, this is a good meme template. With the guy from WWE. It's like capital autonomous zone. What? Somalia? Oh, that's even better. Venezuela. Even though, is that supposed to be Venezuela? It says.
I think it's like, once you're at that point of euphoria, Venezuela.
Somalia. I even got that wrong.
Yeah,
it's soy.
And then I think it's vegan Swalia. Yeah.
Vegan Swalia. All right. Still a little bit obvious.
Yeah.
But better. These are getting better.
Right? Yeah, man. Progressive versions of euphoria as you hit more and more communists, right? I give that one a 6. Maybe even a 7, man. I don't know. Let me ask this, poll the audience real quick. Have you ever tried your hand at making memes? I've tried it before. I'm not great at it. I am not good at it at all. Let's go to this one here, Sean. Democrat ran city's power slide. That person of the year mayhem one might get a little bit too deep, but Democrat ran city's power slide. This one's not bad. All right, this one's okay. Gets the point across here. They're stuck in a situation. Some of the protesters are. It's like, I don't know, man. What am I really protesting against here? I know I have to blame Trump because that's what I've been told. We must blame Trump for all this stuff. But at the same time, we're protesting in Democrat-ran cities. So when we come out here with this counter narrative of like, you got to vote, make sure you vote to change. But what now? What are you voting against changing? They're all Democrat-ran cities anyways, man. What are we talking about? This isn't my opinion either. Sean King's the one that initially picked up on this thread. His whole point was like, dude, if you're going to vote, like vote to enact some type of meaningful change. Stop distracting all the time with just doing these like kneeling ceremonies. Stop distracting all the time with a bunch of like swanky, high profile campaign fundraising parties. Get in there, pass a bill, worry about qualified immunity, get rid of civil asset forfeiture, do something for the American people, man. This is basically protesters trying to figure out how to avoid, like, I don't know, dude, which one is worse? Do we not want to blame Trump anymore and talk about Democrats running these cities, or do we just want to blame Trump in spite of the fact that we're just reelect the same prop?
This one gets points for making a coherent point that's actually really good, but it's more like clapter instead of laughter. You're like, oh yeah, you're making a great point there. Oh yeah, you got that so right, but it's not really laughter. It's more clapter. That's right. But it does get points for being coherent for sure.
I go to that next one. This is again probably another clapter.
I'm a brutal meme judge, by the way. You got to go pretty hard.
That is true, man. That is true. My scores, way higher than yours.
Yeah.
Daniel said in Facebook, distraction is their job. They're not working for the people. Go to the Paul and Amos versus D's and R's one. This is another clapter one, I think, but it gets kind of the point across that I was trying to make from the previous meme, which is why I think these two roll together so well. And plus, it's like, we get to call Senate Majority Leader a turtle again, right? Rand Paul says, here's my bill to end no-knock warrants. Hey, man, something good. Let's look at that. Let's figure it out. Justin Mosh says, here's my bill to end qualified immunity. Speaker of the House says, no, we don't have time for that. I'm busy donning the traditional remnant. And Senate Majority Leader is like, I'm not dealing with any of it. None of it. And again, this is sort of a clapter one. It's not necessarily even a funny one.
Yeah, this is one like, yeah.
Right. I do think, honestly, man, the reason why I laugh at some of this, though, is because if I don't know any other reaction to deal with something like this. If I can't laugh about it, then I might go insane by it.